Hi everyone, Diane here. Welcome to my channel, to my studio. Today I'm going to paint a little white chicken. We have just received 3 chickens to replace the one that recently died, and there are 3 white ones. And so I thought this morning I would use this card as my starting point. This is a photo I bought. It's a postcard actually. I've had it years and years and years and years. And I found it in the drawer the other day when I was looking for Christmas cards. And I thought, oh, I ought to paint that again. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to actually use my Meeden paints. And I've got them in a Meeden palette, actually. This is the one here. So this is quite an interesting one because it's an airtight watercolor palette. And when you get it out of its box, it looks like this. It's got a clip here, which you can open, and then you can put up to 33, I think it is. I think there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yeah, they're 33. And I've just put out a whole little range of colours there. I've also got the same colours in another palette. This is another Meeden one, actually. I'm spoiled for choice. So, yeah, I thought I would give the Meeden paints a run for their money, so to speak. And I'm not going to waste any time before we get started because I need to go and make some soup for lunch. So I've sketched the chicken, and what I'm going to do is a nice dark blue background. My model is on a green sort of, there's a hedge or a fence or some kind of garden behind her. I'm not going to do it like that at all. If you wanted to, you could use masking fluid to mask out the basket of eggs and so on and so forth, but I'm not going to do it like that. I'm going to try to, let's see, what I want is dark blue, like this. Let's put that over there for the minute. This looks like, what do you call it? Ultramarine. And that's phthalo blue. And then I want some black. I do use quite a bit of black to darken my colours. Rather than saying, oh, I can't live without Indent Throne blue, I just mix black with ultramarine and it comes to much the same thing. This would make a nice little gift for somebody who likes chickens. I always think when you paint a painting to give to someone as a present, you want to try and find something that they actually are interested in. You could paint, somebody painted for me actually a little while ago, she painted a really nice picture of my house where I'm living because she'd been to visit us, and so she'd taken a photo. Actually, she also found a photo on Facebook, I think. You have nothing private these days at all. You can never know what's going to turn up. So I'm just painting around my sketch here, and I've just painted around. Don't mention the bit I've just painted over, but, you know, it doesn't matter because we can always use acrylic. You can't see that, can you? This is too big. You can always use acrylic markers to go over something. They will show up. They can be made to be opaque, or you could use gouache. So what I'm trying to say is I think I had another piece of corn there, which I just painted over in my haphazard kind of way. And so all I'm doing is mixing, picking up a bit of water, picking up a bit of blue, picking up a bit of black, mixing them together. Like that. I'm not going to bother worrying about that because I'm going to paint that in over top. Maybe I might use a white acrylic marker for that. Yeah, because it's actually in a white basket, so that white acrylic marker would work quite well for that. I'm going to try to paint more or less around her comb, but if I don't get it right like that, doesn't matter because, again, I've got some red acrylic markers or gouache. which will go over the top of the watercolor. So it's a bit of an easy way out, really. But I will try my best. When I painted this last time, this subject, I do not believe that those markers existed. We had felt tip pens, but I don't think we had those kinds of markers. So that's a real bonus, actually. It's kind of opened up a whole new world of, I don't know if you want to call it mixed media, really. I suppose it is, because it's acrylic. So it is kind of mixed. And also the other thing is, using those white markers like this, the one I'm talking about is this one, this Artex acrylic marker. Comes in a set of, I don't know, 48 or something. And you can, if you let it dry, if you put a white line down and then you let it dry, you can then paint over the top of it in a different colour from what you put it on top of, right? So if I make a mistake on her feet, which I'm bound to, or I'm bound to want to tidy them up a bit, you can do that with the white marker, let it dry, the acrylic one, and then you can correct the colour, or you can use a coloured marker, of course. It's up to you, but both is possible. I hadn't realised, actually, how much of a relief it would be to be able to make corrections to your watercolour paintings, because for many years I was in the situation where I knew there was a pretty good chance I was going to mess it up, you know, when you're still learning. But now, when you're learning, you don't have to feel like that, because you can come back, as I say, with acrylic or gouache, which is readily available and not expensive, and you can correct what you've done. So, you know, also paper now is much more forgiving, I think, anyway, that Meaden paper or Bauhong, it's the same made in the same factory. This is actually a sheet of 5x7 Bauhong, but it's exactly the same as the Meaden. It works in the same way. At least I have found that to be the case. And Meaden, my contacts at Meaden have said, no, it's the same. So I don't know what the arrangements are that these people have behind the scenes exactly. I have my suspicions that it's all one huge, big, gigantic factory where everything is made in the same place and it just gets different labels stuck on, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. Yeah, okay, so now we need to let that dry. I'm going to go to a smaller brush, quite a bit smaller, if I can pick it up, and I'm going to paint in brown. No, I'm not. I'm going to paint in the same colour, maybe a bit duller. Think about what I'm doing. The blue behind the eggs and around them. Yeah, we had an event while we were in Egypt. Unfortunately, one of our little hens died, and she was a white one, and she was great fun because she was very feisty. Little white hens are more, or at least these little French ones, they are brave and feisty. She was always going outside and laying her eggs in the bushes. None of the brown ones do that. Anyway, so there was an incident involving the dog, and while we were away, they left the gate open, and it's okay. It wasn't the end of the world, but I was a bit sad about it. And Yeah, it happened at about the same time that Dean Robert died unexpectedly, the previous Dean of Canterbury Cathedral, who had done the garden congregation. I've mentioned this to people before, some of you will remember, and that was great support to lots of people during COVID, me included. And I did once see him in real life when we were in Canterbury a few years ago to get my teeth fixed. He was a nice man and very clever and interesting to listen to, and he suddenly died of a heart attack, completely out of the blue, which is scary for all of us. Anyway, that happened around about the same time that I lost a chicken, and I was embarrassed to feel both extremely upset about Robert and also about my chicken. I couldn't quite figure out what was going on in my head. Yeah. So anyway, here we go. We've got most of the eggs outlined in blue, so we can sort of see them now, can't we? And the next thing, there's my hen. Right, so I'm going to come in with I'm going to mix up a little bit of blue with a little bit of brown. Not that much brown, a bit more blue. Pale blue, basically. And we'll just put in some shadows behind her wings and up here, just very light. A little bit up here. And then we could do the eggs white, or we could do them brown. Of course, thinking about it, white chickens tend to lay white eggs. So let's put her wattle in. Comb and wattle. And she's going to have a little bit of red round here too. And then we're going to put her eye in. And we're going to put her beak, which is going to be orange. And I'm going to do orange legs simply because it's easier. This is a Poetique brush pen, actually. I don't know whether you can still get them, but there are alternatives. So that's that bit. So we're going to put some shadow on the corn. We just put her claws in And what else do we need to do? We need to come back to the eggs with the white pen, if I can find it. Where'd it go? Right. Now I'm going to put in the basket. And we will improve the shape of the eggs just with this pen. We're just going to go round them. Sorry about the slightly scritchy noise. The paper's not smooth. You could try doing a painting like this on hot press paper. This is rough, I think. No, this is just cold press, so it's halfway between it's cold press, so it's not very rough. You get a little bit of shadow on there when you go around the outside edge of the eggs, because you're going slightly into the blue. All right, so that kind of works really quite well, as you can see. Now this is a white basket, white metal. So we're going to put the bars down there. Then we're going to go across here and across here. Whoops. And here, and then we'll come down and just make the outside edge. And I'm letting the blue sort of come through a bit because that gives it sort of a bit more shadow. So that's okay. Okay, now just going to go round the corn a bit. And I think we might go back to the brush and we might put a bit of, because you can use these acrylics, but then you want to come in with your brush and just turn it back into a watercolor painting, really. And I'm going to take a little bit of purple, if I can find it. Here we are. For the shadows and underneath her feet, just to give it more depth. Make it more painterly, as we artists say. Which basically means splosh the paint around a bit. Okay, and we could, at this point, get a little bit sort of whimsical and just put some dots in the background for no particular reason, other than I like using that pen. Need a little bit more water for that red. These paints are quite good, they're very colourful. And there's my little Miss White. I think that will probably do. You could do more with, well, maybe I could actually use, if I can find it. What did I do with it? I had a nice light grey, neutral grey. We can put in some more feathers. if we want. Depends what you want to do, really. I mean, there's 100 ways, 1,000 ways, million ways of painting a chicken. More or less detail, it's up to you. There we are then. I think I've just made a slight mistake on her beak. That's better. Right, I'm going to leave it at that and let you go and say this was a quickie. Maybe you might want to paint a chicken for one of your friends who likes hens. So here we are, one little chicken. I say bye-bye for now and see you all again soon. Bye-bye, everybody.